Welcome to the K-Fic Cafe. My name is JT.
And it's Jay.
And this is your, we would like it to be weekly, but with college and all that fun stuff, we've been trying to produce podcast after podcast within reason. It's been about 2 weeks since our last one, yeah. And we've just been swamped with stuff. We're probably not going to have another one within the next few weeks as well. I have finals coming up, final projects. I have a podcast that I have to record for classes. I'm sure Jay has a lot of stuff too. So hopefully cherish this moment with us in this episode. And I believe this is episode 14 or 15. I think it's 14.
I'm pretty sure it's 16. Give me a sec.
No, we are not at 16.
We're definitely...
No, it's 14.
We're at 14. We're at 14.
Shame on you. You should be keeping track.
I want big numbers.
We hope. Anywho, I am starting to talk to some other big K-pop fanfic writers on Wattpad in terms of interviews and whatnot. Ace Verentis. We have talked to him. He is certainly interested, and we would love to hopefully get him on soon. And we can talk to him about any topic he wants, because at this point we're kind of running low on ideas. And if you have any ideas, please drop in the comments below, or email us, or reach out to us on Discord, or however you would like to reach out to us. We are pretty easily contactable. Anywho, see the description below, we are going to be talking about synopses and descriptions, which many people kind of overlook, especially from what we've seen on Wattpad, because some of them are just people just skip over them like they're not very important. But we're here to tell you they're very important, because they're the ones that really hook the readers in to actually want to read it. So, for starters, what is a synopsis? Jay, you want to answer that, or do you want me to answer that?
Give me a sec.
I can do it if you want.
No, I got it. Okay. Your synopsis is basically a brief summary of what your story is going to be about. And it is so vague, so broad that yeah.
But it should be detailed enough that your readers will be like, I want to know more.
Yes.
Essentially, that's a synopsis. This would be like a plot synopsis. You would see this on Wikipedia for like a film or a book. But in terms of synopses, for like stories and whatnot, these are the things that, with physical books, if you look at the back of the book, you'll have like a little description and it'll tell you what the book is about. But the key thing is they will only tell you enough information that you'll be interested, but not enough information that you'll go, well, what do you mean by that? Well, the only way you're ever going to find out is if you actually read the book. And so what have we seen on Wattpad? And it's a very, very fair mix. There's a lot of good ones out there on Wattpad, and there's a lot of terrible ones out there on Wattpad. And for a good reason. And we will tell you examples of good ones that we've seen and bad ones that we've seen. But some of the worst ones that we've seen. Let's start with the worst ones, because those are the easiest ones to start with. And so the worst ones that I've seen is all lowercase, okay? Maybe or maybe not has punctuation. That was terrible grammar, by the way. It may or may not have punctuation. There we go. Or the punctuation is used incorrectly, and I'm sorry, it just gets on my nerves. Or it's just extremely, extremely dull. Like, if I read it, I can literally move on with my life and not care. The synopsis should make you care a little bit. It should be that little, if you think with a fire, it's that spark that starts the flame that makes you want to keep going. And so you have to be able to have a good description that engages you with the audience, and they become much more interested. And so in order to attract readers, we've kind of talked this, but the whole idea is you want to get your readers' attention before they read a single word of your book. And it should be similar to how first sentences of an essay or a story will go. It's to hook your reader in, and they want to keep reading.
Forgot the quote of the week, didn't you?
Shoot, I forgot. Thank you. Very, very good call. For the quote of the week, we have chosen one by Stephen King, which he says, Making people believe the unbelievable is no trick. It's work. Belief and reader absorption come in the details. An overturned tricycle in the gutter of an abandoned neighborhood can stand for at everything. All right, now this one's a bit of a mouthful, but essentially what he's trying to get at is making us believe in the things that obviously cannot ever happen in real life. It's not talent. It's not necessarily talent or ingenuity, but it's a lot of work. A lot of hard work has to go into making people believe it. Hence, belief and reader absorption come in the details. And so your description, you don't want a chapter. You don't want a whole essay. You want maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs and enough details that your reader goes, I am intrigued. I know the basics of what the book, I know the basic outline, the structure in a way. I'm kind of familiar with who the main character is now. But what happens? What happens next? And then that's where everything kind of kicks off. And so before we start looking more, because we could go forever with the Wattpad ones, we picked some of our favorite books from real life, and we'll be reading you the synopses, and we'll be telling you the things that we liked about them and what they did well. Okay. And I see Jay with his book, and he looks really ready to share. What we got there?
All right, this is The Wicked Abyss by Cressley Cole.
And just read the synopsis for us, and we can break it down.
The huge synopsis. As a boy, Apsian Sion Infernus had his heart shattered by a treacherous fae beauty who died before he could exact revenge. No, I'm sorry, exact vengeance. Sorry, I don't have my glasses, so leave me alone. Millennia later, a curse has transformed him into a demonic monster, just as she's been reincarnated. Sion captures the delicate but bold female, forcing her back to hell. In the second part, Princess Calliope, Leela, Barbut's people have hated and feared Apsian and his alliance of monsters for eons. When a beastly demon imprisons her in his mystical capsule, vowing revenge for betrayal she can't remember, Leah makes her own vow, rain down the wicked beast for good. This last part. As Leah turns hell inside out, the all-powerful Sion finds herself defenseless against his feelings for her. In turn, Lila, I've been saying that name wrong the whole time. Lila reluctantly responds to the beast's cleverness and growth vulnerability. But when truths from a far distant past are revealed, can their tenuous bond withstand ages of dissent, a curse, and a looming supernatural war? Question mark.
Okay, so just because I've never heard of the story before, immediately, right off the bat, I know who the main characters are. I kind of have a good idea what kind of book this is. It's some kind of fantasy. Maybe it feels like a variation of like werewolves and vampires and all that kind of like mystical monsters kind of thing. And I hear demons and hell, and you already have it's really captivating already, right? That's going to go on my to-read list. I'm definitely going to be reading that. All right, so for me, I picked several children's books. They're kind of young adult, but I thought they were really good back in my youth, and they were one of my favorites. The first one is Lawless by Jeffrey Solane, and the synopsis reads, The lawless school provides the right education for kids on the wrong side of the law. That alone is just the first paragraph, and it's just a single sentence. And honestly, they could have just left it at that, and I would still read it. But going on, M. Freeman is an only child who's been homeschooled for her entire life. So M has no idea just how unusual her education has been, not until she leaves home to attend the prestigious and mysterious Lawless school. All right? You kind of have a good idea of where this is going. Suddenly, it's very clear to M that her parents and tutors have been preparing her for a life of crime from the very beginning. M's talent for criminal mischief soon makes her both friends and enemies. Unfortunately, it's not always easy to tell the difference. And when her first real-world heist goes wrong, M's life will depend on knowing who to trust. This one kind of violates my mental rule of don't try to go too deep into the plot, but it sets a very good foundation as to what the story is. It's a heist, crime, school kind of story. featuring a genius-ish main character. Yeah. You have another one? Because I have another
Yes.
one.
This is actually something I've been reading currently.
Mm-hmm.
It's a book by Jessica Jung. You guys all know she was a member of Girl Generation. My bias. Anyways, the name of this book is Shine, and Shine follows 17-year-old Rachel Kim as she trains to become a K-pop star in Seoul. She straddles two worlds, never quite belonging to either, to Korean for America, to American for Korea. Story progresses. We're thrown into Rachel's glamorous but cutthroat world, and that synopsis itself tells a bit about our main character. We know her name, her age, we know her ethnicity. She's Korean American or American Korean, whichever one. And we know she's a K-pop trainee.
When you say Korean American, do you mean like she's a mixed child or she's a Korean born in America?
Both.
Hold on. Because like I say I'm Chinese American, but I don't have any white blood, I guess you could say.
Like, as I read the story a good bit. I think actually both of her parents are Korean, so
okay, so she's Korean.
Koreans coming from American.
Okay, so it's also an identity story. What
yes.
is she? Finding her own identity.
Mm-hmm.
The last one I have that's a real world book is Space Case of the Moonbase Alpha series by Stuart Gibbs. I've kind of mentioned this once or twice in our Discord, but it's so here it is. Like his fellow Lunarnauts, otherwise known as Moonies, living on Moonbase Alpha, 12-year-old Dashiell Gibson is famous the world over for being one of the first humans to live on the moon. And he's bored out of his mind. Kids aren't allowed on the lunar surface, meaning they're trapped inside the tiny moon base with next to nothing to occupy their time. And the only other kid Dash's age spends all his time hooked into virtual reality games. Then the moon-based Alpha's top scientist turns up dead. Dash senses there's foul play afoot, but no one believes him. Everyone agrees Dr. Holtz went onto the lunar surface without his helmet properly affixed. Simple as that. But Dr. Holtz was on the verge of an important new discovery, Dash finds out, and it's a secret that could change everything for the Moonies. A secret someone just might kill to keep.
Ooh.
So, first off, sci-fi. Some 12-year-old is living on the moon, and it's boring as hell. And they're in an age where virtual reality games is, I guess, the norm. And it's also a murder mystery. Someone's murdered for some important secret. And just already, I hope you can, everyone, from what you're hearing, I hope you can, gauge that the details, they're not particularly detailed, but just enough so that way you're interested in what's happening next. They kind of set a little basic stone in the sense that you have a foundation to build up from there. You have a kind of a base expectation. And that's what you should do. And the book should be able to expand on that expectation and build on that foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've given you some real world examples, let's take a look at Wattpad and see some of the good ones and the bad ones. Firstly, easy to say, the bad ones, I did talk about it earlier, but a bad one is not having anything at all. Nothing that even talks about the story. Okay. There is one here. It's very, very short. I don't think it's particularly good because it doesn't tell me much. And it's not even a complete sentence. Bang twice in a zombie apocalypse. It's kind of like, if you want to read it, come read it. But this is all I'm going to tell you. I mean, maybe, yes, I might want to read that, but I don't have enough information to go off of. I might spend more time in another book that I'm going to be much more invested in.
It's been a while since I've actually gotten access to my
Wattpad.
Yes. You guys, well, Unlucky 13, he knows too. I can't get back into my account, so I had to pull some strings. Anyways, but one thing or two that I've seen in some synopsis or descriptions were that they basically told the story without you even having to open.
Mm-hmm.
They told you your main character, your protagonist, what your protagonist has to do, what they do, how they're going to get there, their friends, everything. It was just like, and
Information
sometimes,
dump.
yeah, it's basically information dump. I think the story was like maybe 22, 23 chapters. They took that and put it in the description.
Mm-hmm. If they do that, I mean, like, what's the point of reading? I already know what's going to happen.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, there are some cases where that is okay, and that is in like typical protagonist versus antagonist stories, where people are going to expect the protagonist to win, but actually the antagonist. It's a twist, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of hard to do it without putting too much into it. But I have seen a story or two where, like, reading synopsis gave you one idea, but when you read the story, it was the same idea, just with a twist to it.
Another thing that I don't like are quotes either from the book or quotes that supposedly would fit in the book but never actually appeared in the book. I would give some examples, but I don't want to, like, throw them under the bus.
Okay. So
enough with that.
Before I wrote Dimple, right?
Yes.
There were 3 stories. 2 of those stories did that. I put quotes in there, and I never used them because I forgot about them.
Dang, I'm still looking at the bad ones. Hold on. I think. Ooh, here's an interesting one. I don't know who I am. I don't know who I was before. What I know is that this girl is somehow important in my life. It does not tell you much. I will give it that. But what it does do very well is build up suspense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming amnesia. It's an amnesia story. And it's a love story. Clearly, because K-pop fan fiction. But, I mean, what else do we write, But what it does is it sets a foundation. It doesn't tell you which girl it is. I mean, in the title of the story it does, but it sets an interesting premise for the story. And the premise is, I don't remember anything, but she kind of but this person feels important, but I don't know why. And it's kind of encouraging the reader to go, well, why don't you know why?
Mm.
And then I read to find out. Now, enough with some of those. I'm going to go look at my favorite ones. Look at my favorite ones. Let's see.
But I got another one.
Okay,
not a bad one. It's actually a really good one. It's made by a really good author,
Mm-hmm.
It's called Art of the Con, right?
Oh my God. Mark, you hear that? He's bringing it up, not me. Okay, he's bringing it up. Thank you. I'm flattered. Wow.
I'm gonna read it to you guys, in case none of you read it. Any of you have read it yet? All right. Meet Kim readers. Reader insert. A con artist, a rising star on the street. With partner in crime Jung Yeon, Reader forms a 6-person crew set on the ultimate heist where everyone can walk away as rich as kings and queens. A crime of such magnitude would either yield immense rewards or land them in jail for life. Join Reader on an adventure of a lifetime as he demonstrates the beauty of the con.
Did I say beauty of the con?
You did.
Oh, I should have put it as Art of the Con, so it wraps up with the title. That would have been a nice artistic little flair. But
you could always go in and change it.
Nah, leave it as it is. It's a done project. Wow, thank you so much.
And I'm not doing this because it's not a biased input. It was a good synopsis. It told me who my main character was. It told me what's happening, and it's telling me what's the goal. With those 3 alone, I know where I'm about to read, but I don't know enough. So it's really setting up the steps, setting up the foundation for what I should be expecting as I read the story, as I go to the first page. So what made you write your synopsis like this, or your description?
So a lot of the stories, the way I like writing things is similar to films. Like I draw so much inspiration from TV shows and movies and all those kind of films. And I mean, hold on a second, let me bring it up because I don't remember. Here it is. Oh yeah, it's only like one little tiny paragraph. And the way I kind of wrote it is similar to like what you would hear in like, I guess you would see in trailers, I guess, or like in a film. And so the whole idea is set the foundation. Who am I trying to introduce? Like, what is the goal of the script of this summary, right? Like, I want the readers to be interested, so I have to write it in a way that someone will be interested in the story. So I wanted to kind of go ahead and introduce. It's kind of like if I can take my first chapter and dilute it by a lot, and then dilute the rest of the story by a crap load, then I guess in a way that's the summary. Because straight off the bat, I introduced the two somewhat main characters. You got the reader insert and you got Jonghyun. Those are as much as I give you, because the other ones I kind of leave it for you to find out later. And so, and the fun part is, this is with this is still under this is it has to take into account everything, because the whole it maybe you might not have noticed if you've read it, but the original intention was a 5-person group, and that is said from the beginning. But the only reason why it became 6 people was because he didn't know that Pisces was actually 2 separate people. So
Spoilers.
Well, I mean, it already says 6-person inside the thing.
Stop it.
They talk about 5-person. See, I'm dropping little tidbits everywhere. Or I'm just being super sloppy. But the parts after that, ultimate heist where everyone can walk away as rich as kings and queens. I wanted it shorter. I was thinking royalty, but it just didn't sound as good. So a lot of it is, how well does it sound to your ears? Crime of magnitude would either yield immense rewards or land him in jail for life. And so this is kind of, I'm introducing the stakes. What is at stake here? Well, you already know it's a heist story. What is the stakes? You're either gonna win and they're gonna gain a reward, a very massive reward, or they fail. And the failure is, this is the consequence if they don't do good. So obviously now I set the reader, I give them an expectation. They want, because they're the reader insert, they want to win. We don't want to lose. We don't want to go to jail. We don't want our readers to
I don't want to go to jail.
Yes, exactly. So I'm already making my readers root for the bad guys. And then now join him. So I'm not trying to isolate my reader. I'm just saying, I'm inviting them in, quite literally. Come join my main character. Join the reader insert on this awesome adventure. It does say Beauty of the Con, but I think Art of the Con would have been have a better ring to it. But yeah, thank you for introducing that. Man. All right. There was one story. I remember. Where was it? A lot of them are just too much. A lot of them that I'm seeing right now, they're just a lot of words.
And I think that comes from the misconception that a description should be detailed, and people will get the detail part, but they put too much of the detail into it. It's like they read what a description is, but they don't read what a description isn't.
I think it's important that people also understand that the summary, synopsis, whatever, is in itself an art form in a way. It's very different. The way you're going to write the summary is going to be very different than the way you will be writing your story. How about I just go ahead and read what I have for my current for my upcoming thing, and then you can critique how it is, and everybody gets a little tease of my next story, because I know there's people who's been waiting for a while. Do you want me to go for it?
Yes, go.
All right. So for those who don't know, my next book is called Fallen, and from the cover that I posted on my 10K announcement of Art of the Con, I bring you Fallen. So Sanami Natozaki is a young Nephilim, a winged race blessed with flight and a magical island floating in the sky to call home. After winning a contest for the young prince's hand in marriage, Destiny flips her entire world and everything she once knew about it upside down. Daemons raided for the first time in decades, secrets were uncovered, and she fell from grace, awakening in the underworld below. Her happiest day had become her worst. Accompanied by a well-versed scholar with a hidden past and new friends, she embarks on a journey, learning about the underworld while seeking a way to return home and discover her true destiny.
Okay, I would read that. If I didn't know you, I would have read it.
What about it like jumps out at you as flags that, ooh, this is interesting?
Okay, so from the beginning, you're like, okay, she's a Nephilim, right? So I know it's like supernatural stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, on her wedding day, she falls from grace into the underworld. And now we got to figure out, well, why?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then now the story goes on about she has to, like, she's learning more about the underworld. And she's also trying to figure out how to get back home. So now you got to find out, you mentioned the scholar guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're also curious about who he is. So off the rip, you give us two interesting characters and a goal.
Not only that, I intentionally did not assign, like I didn't name the scholar then. Mainly, and I just left it with he has a hidden past, and that's the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and then it'll be as clear as day who that is when you meet him.
Downward.
Essentially, this entire thing is a summary of chapters 1 to 6, I think. I mean, the whole idea is I want to introduce the norm for the character. Like, who's the character, right? Break down any like confusing terminology that the reader might not know. And what is the norm? And so the norm shouldn't be anything very important. But then something happens and now her norm has changed. Something violated that continuity. Mm-hmm. And so I guess it's just artistic flair at this point, word choice, how do you phrase certain things. And a lot of things you can just look at your favorite trailers, look at your favorite movie summaries and all that. But the whole idea is, I think it's just, you want to introduce a little bit, like it's a sample, at like, I don't know what you guys have all around the world or where you're listening to this from, whether it be in England or America or in Asia. But it's kind of like in America, we have Sam's Club or Walmart, and they have samples where they have a product that they're trying to sell, and they take little portions and they allow you to sample them, right? Gives you a little taste of what the entire thing is. You don't get the whole thing, which I don't know. If it's a pizza, you don't get the entire, 12-inch pizza. Maybe they'll cut off like a tiny piece that's like the size of your pinky or something at most. You get a tiny taste for it, and then you'll be like, I would buy this. I would read this,
I need this in my life.
Yeah. Anywho, enough with my examples. I do want to get some good Wattpad ones in there, but there are too many to read through. Should have prepared this ahead of time. But, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us in the description below. In the comments below if it's YouTube, we'll answer them. If you're listening to this on like a podcasting network, then feel free to shoot us an email, send us a DM through our Instagram. We do have an Instagram, Discord. Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
It was as we're running out of examples, running out low on fumes. Finals and final projects are really kicking our butts right now.
I literally just had a midterm paper to do. I passed, but that was...
Oh, bro, you can't complain. Last Thursday, I had a final, an exam, and a quiz. All in one day.
That sounds lit.
No, it's not.
Stressful, but lit.
It was chemistry lab, neuroscience, and a Chinese quiz. So not fun. Please, no. All right. Well, we got to wrap it up anyway. Good vibe check. Anything good happened to you lately?
Yes. So here in America, specifically here in my state of Georgia, we have this scholarship known as the Hope Scholarship. And what it basically does, it pays for 80% of your tuition. And I recently got the scholarship. So now I can go to school without having to worry about paying for anything.
Well, it's 80%. You still got 20%. You still got to pay.
Wait, do you have Pell Grant up there?
Sorry?
You have this thing called Pell Grant?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, also in my state of Georgia, we have this thing called Pell Grant, which also gives you a certain amount of money based off of financial needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that and my hope, I actually don't have to pay for anything.
Nice. Wait, but that's just tuition, right?
Well, my books are also included in my tuition.
Okay, then that's a different story. But you still would have to pay for like room and board and food, right? But then again, quarantine, we're at home. We don't need to pay for that. So
also, I'm at community college, so there is no room or board.
Nice. Congrats. Well, for me, if anybody knows, I have to do a different podcast for for a music history course. And I just got feedback from the professor today who said, outstanding job. I would go ahead and record this exact script and turn it in. What a very, very, very fun and rich podcast episode. I almost forgot I was supposed to be giving feedback. So, yeah. It's an essay analyzing storytelling through music and how music can be used to tell stories. Yeah. Maybe I'll put it up on the channel as like a special feature sometime in the future.
Sometimes you just gotta remember.
If I remember. Speaking of, that should be pretty much the end of our podcast. No matter where this is from, like, comment, subscribe. We hope you enjoyed listening to us. We hope you are doing well during this time of quarantine and hope everything is going well. For most of the students, we should be starting to head towards the end of the semester if you're not already there. And we wish you the best of luck. If you need help with anything academically, feel free to join our Discord server. We have a homework assistance channel where if you have any questions about anything, we will try to the best of our ability to answer them. There is no guarantee. Someone who's in college, most of everybody else are younger than me, so they don't really know the answer to it. But if you can come join, we can help one another. And I guess that's one of the other beauties of, quarantine, because everything now is connected virtually. Yes. Anywho.
All connect, all bond, etc. So thank you guys for staying by on this podcast.
Thank you for waiting.
Thank you for waiting, because
you're gonna have to be waiting again
for another hiatus.
Yeah.
Hopefully now.
Keep writing. Right, since it's November, it is National Novel Writing Month, I believe. Yeah, so there's a lot of challenges and programs out there. I'm pretty sure this challenge of writing 50,000 words by the end of the month, or getting a complete novel done by the end of the month. NaNoWriMo, that's what it's called, abbreviated. But just Google it. There's a lot of things out there. There's a non-profit organization called NaNoWriMo, which is focused on helping students and other people write and let their inner passions out. In any case, thank you for listening to this episode. Keep writing your stories and your summaries. If you have any questions or unsure about something, please contact us. We would love to help you.
We love you guys.
We seriously do.
It has been fun with all of you. These are your hosts. I am Jay.
And JT.
And we hope to see you all soon. We don't know when, but soon.
In the near future.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.